Hello everyone, my name is Aryan and this is the Horsepower Show. I'm gonna be comparing two different cars. The brand new 2017 Porsche Macan. Alrighty, so we're gonna start in everything in normal mode. So the gear is in drive, sport mode is off, everything is in normal mode. This will be my second time driving this car because the first time was off camera to just get used to it, but now we're going to do the review. Ladies and gents. Okay, first thoughts, initial thoughts. The car is super smooth. The steering is, when you're going round turns like this one, it's very direct. Even if you make like a, so it's very, if you want to make a last minute decision, then it's right there prepared for you. The brakes are super nice as well. So for example, if I hold my foot in too far on the brake pedal, this green light pops up that says hold on the dash. So basically that is like, it's essentially the same system as the start stop system, which I have off right now because it's super annoying. But basically when I hold my foot in the brake for too long, it stalls and it takes a while to get going when I get my foot back on the gas. Essentially it's the same as the start-stop procedure, except the engine doesn't fully turn off. That's just one of the quirks that the car has when everything is in full normal mode. Personally, I don't like it when the car does lots of assisting for me as a driver, but a lot of people enjoy it when the car does a lot of automated things. But in a second, we will be putting it into sport mode. Once you do put it in sport mode and manual mode, then the car really starts to loosen up and you have more control as a driver. There's not so much lag from the system. So the suspension on this car is actually really good at absorbing all of the bumps on the road. We just went over a really bumpy road there and it was super, obviously it's not a comfy ride, but the car is very good at adjusting to those sort of bumps. Turning left on Windermere Parkway. Right now we're cruising at 40 miles an hour in the normal mode. So if I decide to put my foot down now, it takes about a second to a second and a half for the car to get going. So my foot was down, it took about a second for the car to actually start accelerating there. So now I think it's a good time to put the car into sport mode. And once you put it into sport mode, it just revs all the way to 3,000, 3,500 RPM. So this is sport mode right now. And if I were to do the same acceleration, we're at 43 miles an hour right now. If I were to do the same acceleration, it's way more instant when I put my foot down. The lag no longer exists when sport mode is on in this car. We are now headed to a very twisty, turny road in the hills and mountains, Dublin, California. So once we get there, I'm gonna pop the car into manual mode, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about the gear ratios from the paddles. Oof. So now we are going to be turning left on Camino Tasahara. Okay, we're gonna pop the car into manual mode. First thing it does is rev all the way to about 3,000. And now, shift down once. So like I was saying, a lot of people enjoy the assists and the technology that comes with new cars today. But personally, and I enjoy them as well, but personally, when this car is in sport mode and manual mode, I think that is when the performance really comes into play. And that's when the Porsche brand and the performance that comes with Porsche really shines through in their cars. Cows. This car also has lane departure, which basically it flashes at you and it beeps at you whenever you're drifting out of your lane, if it's not obviously on purpose. So I've also turned off the start-stop system because personally, I don't mean to be negative in any way, but I think it's very, very annoying when the vehicle turns on and off when you are at a stop sign or at a red light or whatever it may be. Cows. Having fun on this canyon road. Since I have lane departure on, there's a little blue icon and I can show it to you guys in the B-roll right now. But basically, whenever you go out of your lane, for example, now one of the green lines on the icon goes orange. Whether if you were staying put in good position on your lane, both lines on the icon stays green. When in manual mode, you have two choices. You can either change gear with the paddles that are on the steering wheel, or you can change directly from the actual gear knob. So if I were to downshift right now, I could pull this lever back and it would go from 7th into 6th and from 6th into 5th. But if I wanted to change up again, I just have to pull the lever forward, so from 5th into 6th and now 6th into 7th gear. What essentially sport mode does is it tightens up the suspension a little bit, but mostly in our case, it makes the throttle response much quicker, much more instant, and you can really feel that when you're driving. Another thing is gear changes. So when you're in normal mode, it lets you change gears up, but it downshifts on its own. The car does not need to be in sport mode for you to activate manual. You can still drive manually while you're in the normal drive mode. Sport mode tends to be used when you are, for example, you want to have a little bit more fun, you're driving on a canyon road like us right now. And normal driving mode is probably what most people would use on their day-to-day basis when they're driving the Macan. There is a little bit of wind noise and road noise that comes into the cabin, but it's very, very minimal and almost none. Another thing that I really like about this car are the pedals. The brake pedal is first of all, it's very large. That makes it very easy for you for traveling from the gas pedal to the brake pedal, but it's also very smooth. It's not clunky. Like when you press it, it's not gonna come to a stop all suddenly. Something that I almost forgot to mention are the signals for the blind spots. Something that's very handy when you're driving, especially on the highway, are these little panels that are on the side of the wing mirrors that are facing you. And whenever there is a car in your blind zone, obviously it would be a safer bet to just look over your shoulder and check those blind zones. but you can also check while you're looking in your side mirror, because that little panel for the blind spot lights up when there's a car in your blind zone. So right now I just forgot to downshift, but the car did it for me, thankfully. So now we're just gonna pop it back into drive, turn off sport mode, and now we can just relax. And it's a very, very smooth cruiser when you want it to be. So to wrap up, if you live in a place where everything is far away from each other and you want to get to places very quickly, all you have to do is buy yourself a Porsche Macan and you are set for life. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the review and in-depth tour of the 2017 Porsche Macan. Now it's time to fly back over to Vancouver and check out the competition that we're putting this car against. I'll see you guys over there.